Welcome to The Locker, Season 2, Episode 47. I'm your man, A. White. No V-Styles today. TB, Terry Brown, downtown Terry Brown filling in for Van tonight. What's going on, Terry?
Not a whole lot. I'm going to hold it down as best as I can for V-Styles since he's out doing whatever. I'm going to do my best. Next man up, right?
Nah, it ain't the next one. You're probably the best man for the job. You've probably been to more volleyball games than I've been to. I'm sporadic. I'll go to some at a point, then I get busy and I kind of, in high school, actually, I always support our team in volleyball. I don't know why, because the matches are so much action back and forth. There's always something going on. It ain't like baseball or, boring football where it's 3 yards from the cloud of dust.
That's right.
Or UK basketball season last year. So
okay, there you go.
But we got a couple guests today. We got Gabby, national champion Gabby Curry. I don't want to leave.
That's right. The champs are in the house.
I would walk around with a boombox on my shoulder. Wherever I go, the champ is here. I go to McDonald's. The champ is here. That's how I go everywhere I went. So we're gonna find out about that, and we got our pops, Buddy Curry, NFL draft pick out of North Carolina. He got a story. He started telling behind the scene what his story was. But Kentucky was in the mix. Like, we could have had him here. So he second round draft pick. That was the year Billy Sims was the first pick. He came down to Lexington and he dealt with Art Steele and those guys back in the 77. So I got to find out what happened. He began to tell me the story. I told him to save it.
That's right.
But, Rookie of the Year, co-Rookie of the Year, which both Rookie of the Years, Defensive Rookie of the Years was on the Falcons, which is interesting as what. And he still has the leading tackles for the Falcons for a season, 223, I think. 223. So it's an interesting guy. I'm going to find out this information as everybody else is finding out. And I hope Gabby don't get upset because I'm a football guy and I ask more. That's why I got Terry on here. So he can keep me under wraps with the volleyball stuff because I don't want her. I just don't want her just trying to big time me on my own show. Man, the champ is here. The champ is here. So without any further ado, we'll bring in Buddy and Gabby. How's it going? When we on mute. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
There we go. Hey, guys.
There we go.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
I just got to ask this off the bat. I know Larry Vaught kind of hooked us up, and we had Gabby on Sunday mornings with us. I was the other guy in the back asking all the weird questions. And you're going to get asked more weird questions in the locker room. And you both have been in the locker room. This is a locker room environment. This is not your pencil and pad and microphone in your face, professional questions. This is locker room talk. This is locker room talk. So
love it.
I just want to know, buddy, or should I call you? I want to call you Mr. Curry, but I know locker room guys don't want that. Don't want that. If you don't mind, I call you Buddy.
Hey, you can either call me Buddy or call me Gabby's dad. How about that?
All right. See, that was the question I was going to. Has she big timed you or anything? I know second round draft pick in 80. That's when they still were like 14 and 15 rounds. So it's not like now we're second. Now you had a lot of people getting drafted, and you were in the second round, 8th pick out of North Carolina. You didn't come to Kentucky. I don't know. You came to Kentucky, but you were on the other team. And Gabby, hold on, sit back. We got to give your dad a moment because we both NFL alum. You got to let him explain to me why you didn't get to Kentucky and what happened when you came to. It wasn't Commonwealth Stadium back then.
I'm not sure what the stadium was called. It was called Beat UNC Stadium, maybe. So they beat us 10-7, and that was 1977. But a few months earlier than that, we played the Kentucky in the Gator Bowl, and that was Warren Bryant and Sonny Collins and Art Steele and Derek Ramsey. Man, they had a great team. And then the next year, which was 77, we came and played them. They beat us 10-7, so it was a lot better game. But they were excellent. They were an excellent football team. And the reason why I went to North Carolina is I grew up in Southern Virginia. My dad actually played basketball for Adolph Rupp. He played on the team with Frank Ramsey and Cliff Hagan and Lou Seropoulos. And so my mother is from Lexington.
Okay.
And so I really felt comfortable in Lexington. Chapel Hill was only 60 miles from my home. So I chose to go there.
See, I didn't know that. So Gabby, is that why you came to Kentucky? Why did you come to Kentucky?
That's a great question, but in a nutshell, they're known for my position. So it's called Libero U, and I was thinking I wanted to be the best, and I think Kentucky was the place that would get me there. So chose UK. It was a little bit of a challenge because I didn't know how good I was going to be, but it definitely was the right place.
Wikipedia has it has your brother's schools, but it has you at Libero U. That's what the name. It didn't say. No, it says Libero, Kentucky.
No way.
I was trying to figure out what that was, but now.
So Libero is my position. It's the one with the different color shirt. It just means that you can go in and out of the game without actually subbing in.
Okay.
And I can't go in the front row, so I don't ever hit.
Hey,
all you do is saves.
Yeah, let me explain it to where you can understand. See, Gabby is a linebacker, okay?
Okay.
She a libero is a linebacker. If she would have been a man, yeah, she would have been a linebacker. Just tell
But let me ask you this though: since she's won to become a national champion, I know as a parent you were proud. I don't have kids myself, but to this day, if we're in a grocery store, my mother tells everybody in line around me, "Well, my son played running back with Tim Couch or whatever." So has she big timed you about the national championship? Has she changed any? Her demeanor changed? Does she walk around with still the game jersey on or something popping her collar?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
She's very humble about it, and kind of like you, except I never won a championship in nothing. I never came in first place in nothing. So she won 2 state championships in volleyball and, of course, the national championship. And she got brothers, and they won a total of 7 state championships, football and track. So, I mean, I got all these champions around me, and I'm feeling bad about myself because I never did anything. But she has been very humble about it. She's always been humble because she wanted to be the hardest worker. She wanted to be the one that led by example and brought the team together. And that the leadership with Kentucky and the kind of person she is, in my opinion, they'll miss the most. Although her play was excellent, she was All-American, all that, but it was the leadership that really, I think, put the stamp on the Kentucky program.
Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about on Sunday morning. And like I said, now I'm doing a little bit more on Sunday morning. I just did research on her and the team. But now, knowing her brothers were extremely successful, you've been successful. What was I want to hear from Gabby's mouth. We're in the locker. What was the sibling rivalry like? I was raised with my mother and my sister. And my sister probably fought more boys than I did as a child. She's 7 years older than me. But what was the sibling rivalry like with you and your brothers?
That's a good question. Honestly, it was kind of weird because growing up, every time you would go anywhere, everyone would say, "Oh, this is the best curry." It would be me. They kind of pre-told everything, saying she's a combination of all of us, So you had my oldest brother who was, the biggest one, strongest one, who's more of a D end. And then you had my second brother who was really, really athletic, fast, quick. Agility was his thing. Then you have my third brother who's the hardest worker ever. So I think I got a little bit of all 3 of them. And so the rivalry hasn't ever been strictly just sports. I think I've learned from a lot of their mistakes, as the last child does, and I've been able to correct those before I make them. So I think that there's just a lot of rivalry just within the family in general because we're all competitive, but also just looking up to each other. Even if I'm the youngest, they're still looking up to me as I'm looking up to them.
Did they ever rough you up? Like Like
Yes,
my
very much
niece
so.
has 2 older brothers, and she can throw a football. She played pitcher in baseball. She can throw a football. And any sport, she's just like a boy. She, like your dad was saying, she would play linebacker. Actually, in Powder Puff, she did. And they said she was hitting too much. So
Yeah, no, they definitely roughed me up. I've ended up in a couple of trash cans. That was the joke of my brothers. They would just pick me up and put me in them just to be funny. I can remember numerous days where I'd come home crying to my mom for no reason, or for a reason that I don't remember, obviously. They're just being mean. So definitely was roughed up.
So we're going to get into this. This is what everybody's here for. This is what I'm here for. You come into the season after losing to Washington last year, come into the season, and you all we only lost 1 game, and you only lost 2 sets. Well, more than 2 sets in the game against Florida that you lost. So you come into the season, did you guys know at the University of Kentucky, you guys were going to be that dominant? Did you know that in the beginning? And what during the preseason told you that? Was there a point, or are you guys were you surprised when you guys finished with only 1 loss on the season, or is that something you guys knew coming in?
Since we're in the locker room, I think I can say this.
There you go. There you go.
Going to Kentucky, I never fully believed that I could win a national championship with the girls, right? It was something that we had talked about, and I think I was the first class that my coaches actually talked about it. So when we were coming in being recruited, it was, hey, you're here to compete for a national championship, which obviously to a high school girl is a wow factor of like, yeah, but it's also intimidating. So I know my first year we had a really good group of seniors, and they took us to the Elite Eight, and that was the first time we had ever been to the Elite Eight as Kentucky. So after that, we had a high expectation. I think after my freshman year, I realized, oh, wow, we could do this. It could. It would take a lot, but we could. And so the next 2 years, we made it to the Sweet 16, got knocked out the last year by Washington. And then going into this next year, we knew that we were going to have a really strong set of seniors that knew how to lead on and off the court. But honestly, it was our freshman class that were coming in. They were the number 1 class, recruiting class in their age group. So there were high expectations for them. But I think the biggest difference on when I started believing it is actually I was telling my dad this the other day. So during COVID, there was a bunch of different things that happened and people quarantined, and it was honestly a big mess. But at one point, there were only 7 girls or 8 girls that could actually practice. And it was me, Ajani Teeler, and then all of the freshmen. So it was me, 1 senior, and all the freshmen for 10 days just practicing. So I was telling him that I think that's when I established good relationships with them. And then they started respecting the work ethic of the upperclassmen, and then that made them buy in. So when people ask me what was different about this team than teams before, it was that from top to bottom, every person was bought into what we wanted to do, and that was to win a national championship. Now, whether we actually believed it until I got to the Sweet 16, I'm going to be honest and say no. But, we beat Purdue and beat them pretty bad. And I realized I looked at Madison. I was like, oh, we could do this. Like, this is real. And we should do this. We should win.
So, Mr. Curry, I've got a question for you. I'm a father of 2 girls myself, and we've been to a lot of volleyball games, a lot of women's soccer games. I grew up basketball and football, so it took me a while to make that switch and actually understand some of these other sports. My question to you is, what kind of sport parent are you? As you're watching your kids participate, are you a yeller? Can you just sit there? What is it when you're watching your kids compete for championships? Because I'm a pacer. I'm up and down the sideline. I can't sit there. So how do you handle all that?
Well, I tell you what a great question. So I've learned so much through being a parent for Gabby. The boys, they play football. I play football. I know what it's all about. I had really, really high expectations, and I kind of drove them, which is, in my humble opinion, not the best for a father to drive your kids. You need to help your kids be the drivers of themselves and be the encourager and all that. With her, I didn't know anything about volleyball. And so one of her club coaches early mentioned, look, just tell them how much you enjoy watching them compete. Just tell them how much you enjoy them just being there and giving it all they've got. So we're talking intangibles, right? So I learned how to be a parent to her, never talk about her play. I never said anything about how she played, but I would always talk about leadership to her. And hey, what's this girl like? What do you think you could help her play better? What do you think she needs to do to be the best she can be, right? The other thing is that you're a pacer, I'm a pacer too. So I learned, so that I wouldn't get out and down all fours and beat the floor, I learned to go on the other side and talk to other parents or do anything other than show my intensity, because volleyball is an intensive sport, as you know.
Yeah, and that's what I've done. Like I said, my daughters play field hockey and lacrosse, and I don't know anything about those sports. So it's made me be a better parent because I don't know the ins and outs. And I think if they were doing basketball or football, I would be more like, hey, you got to hit that cutter and things like that. Instead of now, it's just like, hey, you won, you lost, you played your best, that kind of stuff, and you're able to move on.
I can confidently tell you guys, as a kid, hearing that from your parents, just knowing when you get in the car after you lose a tournament in club volleyball, that you're not going to hear, Gabby, you could have done better. I don't know why you didn't go after that ball. And I'm thinking in my head, well, no crap, I should have went after the ball. My dad, I didn't mean to mess up,
Right.
But I wasn't hearing that, whereas some of my other friends were. I just think about getting into the car and thinking, okay, this is a safe space. I have a lot of encouragement and love and support in this area, and I'm just thankful. So it makes me leave it out all on the court because I'm not scared about what I'm going to hear later. And so I'm very thankful that he had no idea, or my parents really had no idea about volleyball. It was awesome.
Hey, what's funny, TB, growing up, my mother did not know I was one of the best football players in America until I was a junior, and everybody kept wanting to come to the house. So I'm like Gabby. She didn't know what was going on. People would cheer. All she knew was a touchdown for our team. She didn't know what a touchdown was, a first down was. When she found out that I was good, it changed everything. The pressure, even when I was at Kentucky, she would call my hotel room before we leave the game, or before we leave the hotel, and we're on our way. What time are you guys going to be there? I'm trying to concentrate on the game. I can't try to navigate you guys. Gabby is absolutely right. When they don't know what's going on and you can just be yourself and enjoy playing, that was the best time. But Gabby, did you play any other sports before that? When did you know, or did you play other sports as a senior?
No, yeah. So I actually started playing softball. So softball was my thing. I played up until maybe my sixth grade year, and I was thinking I was going to play that forever. And then honestly just got bored with it. And so it was funny. I walked into one of our high school gyms. I think I was with him picking up one of my brothers from football practice. And this happened a lot, obviously. So I just went into the gymnasium, and there's a volleyball game going on. And I remember thinking, what is going on over here? Like, this is weird. I don't know. I don't know. They had short shorts on, and I was thinking, I don't like this. So I go and start picking up a ball, and I'm kind of imitating what they're doing against the wall. And I remember leaving and walking up the bleacher stairs and, looking at my dad and saying, I think I want to do volleyball. I think I want to try that. And I remember him saying, you want to wear those short things, those spandex things? And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't want to do that, So after that, I think I did a camp at my high school and realized, this is intense. This is fun. This kind of fits what I like to do and my personality. So tried that for a little bit. But growing up, I swam competitively. I did competition cheerleading, which I know you guys were probably thinking like, what? Obviously, UK has a great team.
Yeah.
Competition cheerleading is the hardest sport I have ever done, hands down, and I'll take that to my grave. So yeah, volleyball's hard. Basketball, played that. Yeah, that's hard. Nothing compares to a routine in competition cheerleading. So yeah, I played a bunch of different sports. I was blessed that my parents let me actually play 3 club sports at once in 8th grade. That was exhausting for them, not even for me. I think I had energy out the wazoo. But yeah, played a lot.
So, Buddy, you had no influence on what sports she played. Did you have any influence on what sports the guys played? I know you said football and track. They stacked up awards, or you just kind of sat back and whatever they want. I asked you this because you guys are also giving information to other people. I run across a lot of kids now, and I would also like you to comment on that as well, Mr. Buddy. But people are having their kids specialize in 6th grade. I'm like, you don't know how much you're going to grow or whatever. So, people, well, no, I just got him concentrating on basketball. Well, he's 5'5". Like, there's no sport or no school in America outside of high school he's going to play at 5, even if he grows 4 more inches, so 5'9".
And if I could interject, that's why I took my girls to volleyball. My 15-year-old is 5'11", and I think she's still growing.
Yeah.
My 12-year-old is like 5'8", 5'9". I wanted to show them they can still be athletic beyond being just 5'2" and doing soccer, doing everything like that. There's a different world out there for them. So that's why I try to get them exposed to different things as well. So I just had to interject that, talk about my tall girls.
Yeah.
I got a dad brag.
Hey, so as a parent, going through it with 4 kids, all 4 of my kids are Division I athletes, right? I mean, it's so much genetic. They have the makeup, they had the intensity, the competitiveness, all the athletic stuff. It's like, okay, so as a parent, what do you do? So if you're going to be some kind of strategic coordinator of your kids, which most parents try to do, and they're going to map out their path to get a Division I scholarship or to go to the NFL for whatever reasons, the parent wants them to go to the NFL. See, we have a problem. We have a crisis of meaning in our lives where the parents are living their life through their kid, and they get their friend group around their kids' athletic teammates. They travel together. Everything is fun, and then they come to their senior year, and their kid goes, I don't think I want to play in college. I think I just want to be a regular student. And you just see people's hearts drop. See, because they never allowed them to play the sports that they wanted to play or not play when they wanted to play. And then they get burnt out and they feel like they have been used, if you will, or just there's too much pressure. So I'm a big proponent of multi-sports. All my kids played multiple sports. And even in high school, we had this great high school coach at Buford, and I talked Gabby into playing basketball as well as we knew she was going to play volleyball, and she got hurt. She hurt her ankle, so she couldn't. So she kind of focused on that one sport. But golly, if I had a message to parents, I would just say, chill the heck out and let your kid enjoy to learn how to competition. And I'll say this one last thing. When I was on a football field, it was the most exhilarating release where I didn't have to worry about my mama, my daddy, nobody else. I had that guy in front of me, and I'm going to whip him, okay? And it's going to be all day long, and tomorrow, and 2 weeks from now, it's on, right? And I got everything out of my mind that the true joy of competition is what drove me and enabled me to be able to play for a long period of time. I love to compete. I don't think today's kids know how to compete, enjoy competing, because it's always the next level. They can't stay in the moment, right? I rest my case.
Absolutely, man. As old as I am, I go to the basketball courts, and if you beat these youngsters now, they're leaving. They're not playing. When I was a kid, I would get to the courts 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm staying at 8 o'clock. When I was too little, I had to wait 4 or 5 games to get back on. And the older I got, I would be on the whole day, but we weren't leaving until the sun went down. Now, the kids don't have the competitiveness, and I guess it kind of brings up the transfer portal. Like, and I'm a proponent of the transfer portal because I was a student athlete that the coach and I didn't see eye to eye. That's not something I believe in, because as the coach making the money, you need to do what he tells you to do. If you carry out his plan and it doesn't work, then it's on him. But my coach and I didn't see eye to eye, and I felt like I need to leave. But I think the transfer portal, people are scared that it's going to be used where I'm not happy, so I'm leaving. And I think Buddy's right. No, when you're not happy, you need to get your tail. Like Michael Jordan's mom told him when he got cut his sophomore year from the varsity team, she didn't say, I'm going down to the school, I'm going to tell this coach why my son, I'm going to ask why he. No, she told Mike, you just need to work harder. And that's what Mike did. So I love that message to the parents.
As the only non-Division I athlete on this panel here tonight, my dad was very honest with me when I was playing basketball in high school. He said, son, you should probably hit those books, because I just don't see a way that you're going to be able to make this work. And it hurt me, but it was true. And I think we need to do that for our kids. It's like, hey, if you got some goals, you can reach them, but sometimes let's be a little realistic as well.
Guys, I'll share this with you. The last 2 kids that I had, one played at Georgia Tech, just finished. And then you've got Gabby, is they both got master's degrees, okay, from their respective university. I don't even know how to spell master's, okay? So just FYI. So they have bought in with the understanding that they're going to have options when they graduate college. How many of our kids are going to college to go to the next level? Do they understand that what a privilege it is to go to college, get your education, and then if the pros work out, great. Let me tell you something. The way you work in college, you're not going to work any harder to go to the NFL or to go to whatever professionally. They're going to work your butt off anyway. That's kind of how it is. So go ahead and be the greatest teammate. Do great in school. Give yourself options. So now both my kids, and this is interesting, elected not to play professional. Did you guys just hear what I said? Elected not to play professional. I had my son, my third son, signed a free agent contract with Denver. They released him 5 days later, came home, and then when they wanted him to come back, he says, I'm done. I'm going to go about my career. So now he's going to start working for Boston Scientific, the same company my daughter's working. And she had a chance to go overseas and play. And I'm so proud of them because they stood up for what they believe. It's not the dream. They're not chasing the dream. If they want to go to the NFL, look, I'm raising my hand. I've been there. What a great opportunity. But it's not the end-all, be-all, because most of us mortals have to get out and do something when we finish playing professional ball, right? So I'm with you, TB.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And we're jumping all around, but my question is for you, Gabby. Going back to the championship game, I know you've relived this moment a lot, and if I ever won a championship, I'd relive it all the time. But I'm on another show. We had Coach Anders on talking about that Texas match when Texas goes up big, and it's kind of that moment where the game is hanging in the balance. As a player, where did you go to kind of get yourself back on track, and how did the team kind of get back on track when it could have turned the other way and we're going to a set 5?
Yeah, that's a good question. Just honestly, it seems cliche, but we were just looking at each other like, I know who you are as a player, right? And this is the big eye contact thing that we talk about a lot in volleyball, and it's huge. Eye contact in volleyball is huge because when you're coming in the middle after every single point, people always ask, what do you guys say? You don't say much, but you say a lot with your eyes and your body language. So we're looking at each other saying, I know who you are. I know what you can do. I've seen it every single day in practice. So go do that. We are as good. We don't have to be great. We just have to be Kentucky good. If everyone plays pretty decent, we're going to outplay anybody in the country. So I think we were just looking at each other and instilling the confidence that, hey, whatever happens this point, the next point's ours. And you know, my dad talks about it a lot, but volleyball is so different because it's such a momentum game where Craig Skinner will say we need one momentum-changing play, a game-changing play. And it takes one. And then from there on, you have that little bit of confidence, and then every single person on the team feels that we're now going to get the next couple points and then win the set and then win the match.
And so since then, have you guys, I know there's folks traveling around, Coach Skinner's got the trophy and the seatbelt and everything like that. I know as we're coming out of this COVID fog, have you all felt the love from the Big Blue Nation? And I'm asking because, you know, generally on Twitter, which most of us are on Twitter, the run to that championship for you guys is generally reserved just for men's basketball, if we're being honest. But a lot of people were on board, like, I don't know anything about volleyball, but we are all in on what these ladies are doing, representing the Big Blue Nation. So have you all been able to kind of feel that?
Absolutely. And they have been better than I really expected. I remember I got a FaceTime call from one of my friends who plays track at UK. And she FaceTimed me and showed me State Street. And all of us had just won the national championship. And I'm sitting with my phone showing everyone, like, guys, look at Lexington. Like, this is for us. And everyone's sitting there like, oh my gosh. You know, we have our hats, confetti everywhere. We should be focusing on, we just won the national championship. But we were actually thinking about, wow, people are actually celebrating us back in Kentucky. And I'm so thankful for that, just the recognition for all of our hard work and stuff like that. But also, I haven't spent as much time in Lexington, so I haven't personally gotten to talk to a lot of the Big Blue Nation. But we've done a couple signings, the seniors and I have, and I've gotten to speak to a lot of them and just hear their stories about, you know, randomly they were in Michigan and they were at a bar and they had never watched volleyball before. They turned it on, started watching it, and then the whole bar got into it. You know, little stories like that makes it so sweet that people are actually interested in volleyball and recognize that it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, because I had people, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? The commentator would say something. What is this? What is it? I don't know. Just cheer for when Kentucky gets a point is basically what it came down to. And the highlight for me is, you know, when you're watching sports on TV, Marv Albert that just retired, you know, he'll say something and that gets burned into your brain, like as the memory, you know, us older guys, when Jordan went up for the right hand, switched to the left, you know, a spectacular move. And I just remember as you guys are making that comeback against Texas, and it's during a timeout or whatever, one commentator says, you know, if you were Texas, where would you go? And the other person says, I don't know where you go against this Kentucky team. Like, if you go here, like, they just checked off, like, wherever you would go. And I said, this is pretty cool. Like, I don't know a lot about what I'm hearing, but I understand what that is. So that's a lasting memory for me personally.
Yeah, a little bit on Texas in that game. So Texas was a different style of volleyball than we had seen, really, since, I'm going to say Florida, but Florida definitely wasn't at their caliber. So they just played a big power game. Right, so they're very physical. If you guys watched the game, you saw how tall they were. They actually weren't as tall as the other teams that we had played, but you wouldn't see that because they were thick. They were built. They were muscular, very athletic looking. So just intimidating to look at, honestly. So we had to play a very different game against them than we did, say, Washington, who was a very technical team. We had to scheme a lot more in Washington. But for them, it was, okay, they're physical. And what do people say about us? We're physical, right? So we were lucky enough to where we had the physicality up top, and whether that's, you know, a 5'10" middle jumping and touching 10'6", 10'8", or that's our 6'5" outside, you know, whatever that may be. But we were lucky enough to have that physicality and then also have a lot of ball control in the back row with me and some of the other DSs. So I think it worked well for us. Obviously against them, but any team in the nation that brought whatever they had, I think that we had something to respond with.
Now, Mr. Kerr, what were you doing during the game? I know you say you pace you. So as you're watching this, what are you doing to kind of get you from the start of the match to the end?
Oh my gosh, I needed some sedatives, man. I needed. Oh my gosh! But look, so Kentucky's playing this Texas team that is like, you got Jermaine O'Neal's daughter. Man, they're long. They're athletic. I'm going, man. Can we hit with it? Kentucky had the highest hitting percentage of any team in the country, and then the first game, Texas kind of controls the whole game, and they were just better than Kentucky the first game. And then you watch Kentucky just turning around to where the fourth set, Texas hit 471 and lost the game. That never happens.
For anybody that doesn't know volleyball, hitting 200, 230 is a pretty decent game. It's actually a good game. And they hit 470, like he said, which should lights out blow out any team.
But they couldn't outblock us. They couldn't out-hit us. They couldn't out-set us. They couldn't out-dig it. The girls just put it together. And so me in the stands, I've got my three boys with me because they flew in. And we are just enjoying it, high-fiving. It's one of the more memorable moments, if not the most memorable moments that I've ever had as an athlete. Just to be able to compete for the national championship, watch your daughter and her teammates, and they really love each other. They really fight for each other. Watch them go out and execute like that against a team of that caliber, it was just incredible. But was I nervous? Absolutely, man. Volleyball. If you give me a more intense game, I gotta give you that. But I don't think there is no.
I was watching exactly what Terry said when you gave out the number. That's what the announcers were talking about. Terry was like, they couldn't have done anything better. I mean, Kentucky just did better. But I was with Gabby. I was with you both in the beginning. I was like, man, I watch you all. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since we had our media outlet with you all, and I was shorter than most of y'all, I didn't want to go back around y'all because that was intimidating. But I did watch you all through the tournament run. And it just seemed like you guys, like you said, once y'all got a rhythm, there was nothing you could do. But when Texas came out, and they were so aggressive at the net, and like you said, it was just like a brick wall. I was like, wow, what are we gonna do now? Like, we can't get anything behind them. Like, they're just so aggressive at the net. And then, like I said, once you guys started rolling, I thought maybe it'll be bounced back and forth after the second set. But one thing you guys did say, when I talked to you on Sunday, was that you guys, and I've always wanted that feeling as a player. I don't know if your dad's ever had that feeling. In football, it's 11 players, that all I want to do is concentrate on my job. I want to do it 1,000%. And I'm not going to worry about other 10 players on the field with me. As long as I do mine, everybody else is going to do theirs. And it seems like that's what your guys' mentality was. And it's funny when I heard a couple of you guys saying that.
Yes, absolutely. In a nutshell, that's exactly how I felt. And what a relief that is as a libero, right? I can't end points. I can't get points. So all I can do is assist those people to do so. And what a relief for me to know that as long as I do my job at a good rate, right, then everyone else is going to do their jobs at a good rate. And we don't need to be exceptional. That was the biggest, obviously, pressure releaser. But I think back, and my dad and my mom have watched the game probably 13 times again. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I haven't rewatched it yet. I don't know when. I think I'm waiting for the day where I'm really missing it, and so I'm thinking I'm going to turn it on, and I'll relive that. But from everything from just memory, it was everything that you would read in a competitor's handbook. Our team was everything. Our camaraderie, our mentality, our emotional states were just everything that you could read in a captain's class or in a competitive handbook.
And that was the one thing that stood out to me is when Texas went on that run and there was a timeout, it was the relative calm on the sideline from Coach Skinner and the staff. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. It was just, you all know what to do. Go do it.
Yep.
And as a fan, or as an outsider, that's comforting because everybody's panicking on Twitter, like, what's going on? Well, Twitter is Twitter. But as soon as I saw that, I said, oh, we got this. Even though Texas is still up 5 or 6 points, I said, oh yeah, we got this. This is not gonna be a problem at all.
Mm-hmm. I will say too, in the arena, you couldn't find the score if you're on the floor. So you never knew the score until you got in the timeout and you look up and you're like, oh, wow, we're beating them that much? Or, or like, ooh, okay, we're down 6. All right, that sounds good. But I guess that was kind of nice to play into the whole calm mentality as well.
One of our avid followers, one of you guys' avid followers, Michelle wants to know, how much of the influence was Ashley Tuzik to your game?
Huge influence. As a freshman, you're coming in. You're wanting to buy in, right, to the program, but you don't really know what the program is. And she was a 3-time SEC Libero of the Year as well. So her senior year, she actually got hurt and tore ACL. So I was lucky enough to graduate early from high school. So I was in Kentucky when she got hurt in the spring. So I actually had to play in her position for about the first third of the season. To say that I was nervous is a complete understatement. But she just calmed me down. Every day she would come to me, do you want to get extra reps? Yeah, I want to get extra reps. I don't know what I'm doing out there. Yes, I need extra reps. And then if I would come off the floor, she'd always talking to me like, hey, I saw this shot. Will you tell everyone else? So I think the biggest thing she taught me was just to have a hard and a good work ethic, and to be in the gym before and after every other person on the team. Because if you wanted to be the best and if you wanted to be the best leader, then you're going to have to outwork everyone. And I think that respect, prospers from that. But she taught me a lot about how to support your teammates.
That is a nugget that I learned in the NFL. Buddy, tell me if I'm wrong. I was with the Oakland. When I was in Oakland, Tyrone Wheatley said, whoever the best player is at your position, because football is spaced out a lot more than volleyball, whether you know it or not, Gabby, that if your best player shows that he's tired during sprints or runs halfway on gassers, if your best player finds a shortcut, everybody else, that's the direction your team will go. That is absolutely the direction of your team. So you always have to make sure your best player is holding everybody else accountable, but number one, holding himself accountable. But I'm going to ask you 2 questions because I don't feel comfortable asking this in front of your dad. But because we're in the locker room and I always got to ask something crazy, I have to ask it. So I'm going to ask you 2. So you can escape the first one whenever you're done to answer the second one. One, how hard is it dating with your dad being an NFL and still has the leading tackle record in Atlanta and your brother's big as shit? How hard is it dating? And 2, do you understand the influence that you guys have had? Because ever since you guys won the championship, I know locally, but it's national. Everybody's saying, well, volleyball needs to be on TV more. And Big Blue Nation is a huge group of people. And they're saying volleyball needs to be on TV more. And I hear you guys in the background chanting, if you guys will watch us and pay attention, then there would be more demand for our stuff to be on TV. But yeah. I gave you 2 questions.
I'll answer both. The first question, I don't date. I've never had a boyfriend. So that's not a problem. If I bring him around the family, it's a good sign. But I really respect what my dad and what my brothers have to say. So I want to bring them around and I want them to kind of assess their character as well as me assess their character. So very particular. And then the second question, I've seen the influence now more than ever. I'm able to do these camps and clinics for girls here in Atlanta. We're calling it a professional camp with a girl and I. And just seeing the awe in these little girls' faces that, I'm from Atlanta, okay? Played in Kentucky. Obviously, I affect and influence a lot of the Kentucky people and the younger girls. But as far as down here, everyone was watching. everyone knew about the game. These little girls are asking specific questions about different points and about different players, little things like that. And then also, we will just be doing random things. We'll be out at dinner, and we'll meet somebody from Kentucky. We were looking at buying a car, and our car salesman was from Lexington, Kentucky, and knew about volleyball. Yeah. So just little things like that. And the second that you can say, oh, yeah, I was on the national championship team, their eyes light up because they put 2 and 2 together. Like, wow, that's such a big deal. Yeah, thank you for making up for the men's basketball team and showing Kentucky some love. So
there you go. I love it. My normal co-host asks, how much did Leah Edmonds affect the expectations of the program?
Greatly. Obviously, she was a leader in propelling the program forward. It saddens my heart that she didn't get to be a part of the national championship team, because I know that was her dream and one of her big aspirations. But I can honestly and wholeheartedly say that we wouldn't have been in the position that we were without her. She pushed us, obviously, skill-wise, athleticism-wise, but in general, I think that her mindset of every day that she wanted to be the best helped us out a lot, led us in a lot of ways.
Now, my question, Gabby, we're talking about players that influenced you, and I hate to use the word legacy because you're not as old as we are, but with UK being Libero U, and you all have kind of set the foundation of what's to be expected, when you see yourself coming back to the program, whoever's the next libero, whoever comes, the next year, you have to let them know, like, this is a big deal. Like, I'm old enough to remember the quarterback at Notre Dame was a big deal. Didn't matter who it was. So with Kentucky kind of building up toward being a national powerhouse, being the libero at Kentucky means something. Do you feel a little ownership of that and wanting to keep that moving forward?
Absolutely. And it's cool because the other liberos that have fulfilled kind of what I have, we all keep in touch. So it's a one big happy family. But before I left and during the season, before the season, I was talking to the next libero on our team saying, hey, this is what it takes. And I learned from Ashley this, that, and the other. And now I expect it of you. So I'm going to show you how it's done. But then after that, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, all right, your turn. This is how I went from being a DS to being a libero. And now it's your turn to do so. So I think that any libero that comes to Kentucky knows that expectation, but it's just really embracing it and being willing to learn from the one before you. And I think all of them are.
So that's kind of like a fraternity is what you're telling me, Terry? It's kind of like the Heisman Trophy of volleyball. Like once you come to Kentucky and you're a libero, that you come from a long line of liberos, like you can't disappoint. You can't disappoint libero U. Like if you play that position, all eyes are on you.
Yeah, it's like, Michigan football, like somebody special's got to be number one. Like every program's kind of got its thing. And it just seems that with Kentucky volleyball, as the SEC championships have kind of become passe. I don't want to say passe, but okay, yeah, this is not the main goal. But as the program elevates, it just seems like that position is becoming, that position. I'm repeating myself, so bear with
me. Let me enlighten you on why it's libero U. Okay, the Kentucky coaches actually value the position. Okay, so as you guys may or may not know, with the Title IX, there has to be equal number of scholarships between men and women's sports. All right, so luckily, volleyball is one of the few sports that has an all or nothing scholarship wise. So football is like that, basketball wise, or basketball is like that. Now, if you go to soccer, they can get percentages. Okay. So to give a scholarship, there's only 12 on a volleyball team. And usually there are 15, 16 girls on a volleyball team. Right. But to give a scholarship to somebody that's a libero is kind of few and far between, which I know you guys are probably shocked. But think about it. You can't get, or like you have a smaller percentage of people to choose from that are tall, athletic, can hit hard, can move, right? But you have a lot of smaller girls like me that can move around, that are edgy and enthusiastic and have good skill. So it's easier to find someone, a libero, than, let's say, a hitter. But Kentucky takes pride in finding the girls that are liberos, that have the intangibles, that are the leaders, that are the hard workers, but also have that skill, and they invest in them. So I was lucky enough to have a full ride at the end of the day, which basically never happens. If you go to any Big Ten school, which is basically the powerhouse of volleyball, most of their girls walk on and have to pay fully for school.
So that's what jacks Texas up. They had hitters. They didn't have any liberos. They had a bunch of big. They had this big ass wall, but they didn't have no back row. That's what they did. I seen that, Gabby, when y'all was playing. I'm telling you, I was over strategizing, and I was thinking, because that front wall was hectic.
Hey, you win championships on defense, right?
Oh man, here we go. You sound like my co-host, man. You sound like my co-host. Okay, I give you that. But we sell tickets. Offensive side, we sell tickets.
Yeah, you do.
I did want to ask. I want to get your dad back here for a second. I did want to ask because I've been trying to start up some things myself locally, and the Heads Up football program. Is that national? Are you just in Georgia, Atlanta area, or you president, chair?
So USA Football has the Heads Up program, and I'm a master trainer for that particular program. The USA Football offices are out of Indianapolis, and they have master trainers at almost every state. And our role is to kind of help with the rollout of educating coaches and helping coaches, not only coach for the right reasons, but give them practical knowledge, like how to design a practice plan, how to teach tackling and not using the head, but using the body. We know this now as like a rugby style tackle. How to block without using your head and butting people, but exploding your arms and your hips through the block. So a lot of the new techniques in safety and how technology and how the new techniques are improving the game, we're kind of charged with implementing that throughout the country. So yes, I do that in Georgia. Also, been part of a nonprofit for 21 years, and we go around and we teach this stuff. So we have camps and clinics all over the country. 2 years ago in 19, we had one in Elizabethtown. We had one Eastern Kentucky, in Louisville as well. So we had 3, and we've kind of scaled back now because of the shutdown and all that. But so that I've been doing that for a long time.
Okay, that sounds fun. I coached middle school and peewees for a little while, and that's one thing. I don't know, the art of football when I was a kid, which, like you said, first thing a kid wants to do when they want to hit somebody hard, first thing they do is dip their head like that's going to make the hit harder. And if they do that, I take them immediately out of the game. You're going to get yourself hurt or somebody else hurt. Do not do that. And I'm glad you guys are really explaining. I mean, it doesn't seem like much if it doesn't really make contact, but the time it makes the wrong contact, it is something that's going to be cringe-worthy. So I'm glad you guys are.
It's dangerous, and it's different from how when you and I played because we did use our face, not our head. We knew not to use the crown of our head, but it's the face. So, but here's the other thing: when you're coaching kids, as you know, the far majority of them are not going to play in college or professional. So, what are we teaching them? We want to teach them the fundamentals, but we also want to teach them about life. Yeah. And so, we want to use our lives, hopefully, as examples on how to work hard, how to never give up, how to commit yourself to excellence, how to respect your teammates, how to be a person of integrity and do your job and help others. So all these things that you learn in football can and will make you wildly successful in life. And so many of us, attribute our successes in life to our sports experience, and of course you and my into our athletic experience.
Okay. We got about 5 minutes left, and this is something I found interesting. And I'm sure Gabby has a little bit more detail on. So when y'all were playing those games really, really late, because I was up, man, I figured I'm going to get me an adult beverage. I'm going to sit back and watch you guys. And when you guys come on 2 hours later than I expected, those adult beverages start taking over me. What were you guys going through when the game's getting pushed back to almost midnight? What are you guys doing? What kind of things? You talked about it on Sunday a little bit, but I think that was not in the locker. Like, what exactly was going on with you guys?
Oh my gosh, you guys. So my coaches did a great job, obviously. But they mentally prepared us for things that were going to happen. Okay. So they came in, they brought us a podcast and made us listen to a little snippet talking about the guys in the NBA bubble. The teams that were in the NBA finals were the teams that were the most adaptable, right? So when things didn't go exactly how they're used to or how they wanted it, who were gonna be able to kind of accept it, adapt, and move on, and then still be as good as they would have been if it went exactly how they wanted. So coaches kind of started and like set the tone with that, saying, hey, we're going to be adaptable, so I don't want to hear anybody complaining. So that was number one. But if you would have saw our team before the games, right, and our coaches are silently pissed, okay? So they were talking to each other, and they're like, the team's taking this better than we are, and we don't even have to play, you know? And obviously they told us that afterwards, but during the time, they were cool, calm, and collected, as always. I would come up to him and be like, Craig, how's it going? What's the score? And he's like, I don't know, Kurt. We'll figure it out, you know? Which I wanted to just like shake him and be like, I know you're mad, but I was mad. But if you would have watched us, we're on this little warm-up court, and everyone is doing anything but productive things. Anything but it. So you have some girls laying on the ground playing with their hair. You have some girls listening to the game that was going on beforehand. You have some girls sitting there rolling the ball to each other, stretching. I was on the bike just trying to keep warm. I was drinking my energy drink, which I never really do. And I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to play well, right? Like both teams, though. Both teams are from Kentucky at that point, and it was midnight when we started. Yeah. I was like, there's no way. So what we did actually was atrocious. You guys would have thought it was a juvenile middle school team. It went well.
But whatever it takes to win.
Right. Exactly.
And you guys, and this, I guess none of us older guys on there knows anything about, but you guys, so you guys didn't have any electronic devices or anything. So it's not like you guys could have played Pokemon Go or anything.
Yeah, no, we had our phones, but everyone was kind of like, hey, stay off the phone. If you wanted to watch the game that was happening before us, then you could do that. But there wasn't a lot of just sit on the phone. We all kind of had that expectation in general on the team, so it rolled over.
Well, man, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. TV timeouts really irritate me, so I can't imagine being delayed 2.5 hours. So, yeah,
it was atrocious. Getting into the locker room afterwards, everyone was like, "Okay, so we're going to sleep in 5 minutes bedtime." But it was fun. It was cool. It's a good memory, and it's a good thing to overcome adversity. And I don't think that if it went that way, or if it didn't go that way, we would have won the national championship. So I'm thankful for it all.
Well, I'm glad you guys picking up the slack for the basketball team. The football team could have did better. It was all SEC schedule. But I'm glad you guys picked up the slack, brought us a national championship. Now you guys represent the SEC in that sport. SEC is represented in every other sport. Like, we just won baseball, but it was all baseball World Series. But so I'm glad you guys did that, and I appreciate Mr. Curry, raising good, intelligent, hardworking, well-grounded individuals, man, like your daughter and your sons, man. and letting your daughter come to Lexington and help and get us a national championship. I mean, I also appreciate you guys for taking time.
Absolutely.
Coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the parents' perspective. Thank you for the parents' perspective. Let me know I'm doing okay.
All right.
Every show we present, we always try to leave the fans with some nuggets, and I think Gabby's given the female athletes some inspiration, and you've given a lot of parental advice that I've always tried to tell people. So now it's coming from somebody different than me, and I appreciate all of that. Again, like I said, appreciate you guys for taking some time this late to come on with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, TB, there's another one down.
Yeah, I got to ask for the parent perspective because my daughters are getting a little bit more competitive with what they're doing. So I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, man. You a good guy, man. You well rounded. You're not like Van, man. Forget when to come on the show and just forget stuff. When you're a parent, you got to be scheduled. Like talking to Buddy. Buddy knew exactly what his kids, and that's one thing people don't really. I'm not gonna go off on a huge tangent, but people don't really give enough credence. Like I'm the first person in my house to go to college. Like I told you, my mom didn't know that I was going to college until I was like 16 years old, 17 years old, and everybody in America is coming to visit and calling all day long. So now, but now, if, like my nephews, no, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna do this. Boom, it's all settled. But to be the first one, it's kind of tough. It's like trial and error, just like anything else you've ever done. Yeah. So, but I can tell. I can't tell that you were nervous or you still figuring these things out. You just seem real calm, and maybe you've been around a lot of people that can advise you, but you seem like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and the things you're saying sounds like you're right on par, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Like I said, volleyball, we covered a lot of games with the girls. They enjoy that kind of stuff, and I want to show them you don't have to be at Kroger Field or Rupp Arena to have an athletic career at Kentucky or wherever. So just trying to support them, trying to be a good dad.
Yeah, man. Well, TB, man, I appreciate you for stepping in, man. Stepping in.
Absolutely.
You did an admirable job. Hey, that's right. Next one up. You didn't miss a beat.
There you go.
My one down, we didn't miss a beat, man. As usual, man, we always appreciate you coming in, man. I know we can always count on you to come do a good job, man. Like I said,
thank you for having me.
It. All right, man. I got a spot open Thursday. We might bring you both on. I might try and do a round table. Let's get us a round table together, TB, if you're available on Thursday.
I should be available on Thursday.
Let's try and get us a round table together.
That sounds good to me, man.
All right, now. See you on Thursday.
All right, take it easy.